Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me directly through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is an internationally syndicated show solely due to the love and support that you all continue to show. We're available across all major podcast distributors, and like I mentioned, people, if you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in because we are delighted to showcase this next guest on our network. And on the line with us today, we have the impressive Bobby Karim. And we're going to be discussing Bobby's amazing book, Weeping Walls. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. People, man, listen, it is a whole host of other places. But if you want to gather everything that Bobby has in store, check out his personal website, weepingwalls.com. There, you're going to gather more information on him, more information on this fantastic book, hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing pages. Man, I'm telling you, it's a one-stop shop. Again, that's weepingwalls.com. Listen, man, sit back and strap in, okay? Today's discussion covers a chilling tale that forces us to ask an age-old question and one that I believe is universal, and we've probably all have been there and asked ourselves at one point or another. How far would you go to save the ones that you love from an evil that refuses to let go? Right, as I mentioned, man, that's pretty universal. I think that's something that we can all relate to, and something I'm sure we have all contemplated at one point or another. Well, today's discussion, man, we're going to be sitting down with Bobby Karim to unravel the haunting truths behind his incredible book, Weeping Walls. Like I mentioned, man, strap in. Let's jump into it. Bobby, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, Bobby, man, it is a pleasure to have you here, man. First and foremost, your book is something incredible and something that I know my listening audience is going to be able to gravitate towards. So let's just dive right in. Let's not wait any longer, man. Start by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Well, I was born and raised in the Caribbean, the small island of Trinidad and Tobago. My family were very poor. We never had much of anything. And my mom decided one day that she wanted a better life for her children. And she brought us to New York. And we migrated there. I was 18 years old when I moved to New York and started working ever since I hit the ground. Started working for a minimum wage of $3 an hour and just took it from there. Helped my family throughout the entire process of trying to get acclimated to the new life, new lifestyle, trying to get acclimated with the new language. And ever since that, I never looked back. It was always a matter of trying to make something of myself, trying to be better at everything, trying to become someone, trying to be noticed, trying to become a part of society, of the American society. And I think I've done well regarding that. I know I still speak with an accent, but...
Man, listen, ain't nothing wrong with having an accent, brother. If you ask me, I think it's something to be celebrated, okay? No, listen. Bobby, without further ado, let's jump right in. Tell us a little bit more about your book, Weeping Walls.
Okay. Well, my brother-in-law, it's a kind of funny story of how the book came about. My brother-in-law, which is my sister's husband, when we hang out together, he always tells me, he said, Bob, you've lived a very interesting life. And he's like, there's so many things that happened to you and you've been through so much. Why don't you just write a book? So every time we get together, he always told me, he's like, you should write a book, you should write a book, you should write a book. And after this specific incident, what the book is based on, when that part of my life happened, there's those words stuck in my head, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna pick up a I'm gonna pick up a pencil and paper, and I'm gonna start writing. I'm gonna write about it, about this event that took place in my life, and I'm gonna see if I could make it into a book. And I just started writing. I started writing day in, day out. The night I started writing, and it was so it was so interesting to me that whenever I read the words that I wrote, I just found it more and more interesting and realized what I was capable of. And I just started writing about the actual events that took place, and just let it happen. Stephen King is one of my favorite writers of all time, because the way he brings his story to life, the way he writes about the intricacies of every single little detail of an actual event. And I read quite a few of his books, just so in that way I could get an idea of his narrative and how he writes and things like that. And I incorporated many of his thoughts and feelings into aspects of my book. And when I was finished writing it, the purpose of the book was not for fame or for glory, or it had nothing to do with monetary adventures, anything like that. I just wanted the story to get out there. I wanted this. I wanted the people to know what transpires, what took place, and what they could look for if something like that should ever happen to them. Maybe offer some advice through my eyes, to see what I saw, to react the way I did, and to seek help the way I did. And that's what basically got me into this book. And I've read my own book several times just because that story and what happened, it reminds me of what was, and how I'm here and why I'm here. And it's just a beautiful thing knowing that the completed version of the story is so true to the facts. It's so true to the actual events that what took place.
Bobby, I'm intrigued by your title, man. Weeping Walls. It's a haunting title, right? Because of what it can symbolize. And beyond the literal, I'm curious to know, when you were creating this book and deciding on the title, what did the walls symbolize in the story? Was it constraints? Was it secrets? Was it the fragility of this family's foundation? Talk to us a little bit more about that title and why you chose it to be the representation for your book.
Well, that's a very, very good question. After writing the book, I was trying to come up with a name for it. I came up with so many different versions of different names, trying to put a name to the story, so people will understand the story. And it's so ironic that Weeping Walls, when you actually get into the story itself, you'll understand that Weeping Walls it's an actual event in the book. It's an actual event that took me through the most difficult times of that book. It wasn't something that was made up. It was something that was actually literal. So the term Weeping Walls is an actual event in the book, and it was the only phrase or the only couple of words that could actually summarize the entire book of how I'm here. And it's what got me through here is those weeping walls. And when you read the entire book, you will understand how very literal that is.
People, I'm telling you, this is one you need to get your hands on, man. This is a book that's going to keep you at the edge of your seat. Remember, it's Amazon, it's Barnes and Noble. Make sure to check out his personal site, weepingwalls.com. I promise you're not going to be able to put this one down, okay? Bobby, my next question that I want to go into, man, it's an interesting thing here, not only in your book, but just in life in general. When we compare and contrast the duality of silence in the moments of suffering versus screams and shouting in those same moments, and I want to try to go there next. While you were creating this book, while you were writing it, did you find that the more subtle scenes were almost harder to write than the outright explosive ones?
That's a very heartfelt question, because just by you mentioning those words, it brings a tear to my eye that it's both. Because I've been there on through both spectrums. I've been through the quiet and peaceful times when I had a chance to sit by myself and reflect of what's going on, what's taking place, what am I going to do about it. And then there were times I just went into the closet and I screamed because it came to a point where I didn't know if I was going to make it through this. And it was very emotional writing it. There were many times I wrote words and had to stop writing because I couldn't continue. I was too emotional to continue. And it was very difficult writing it, needless to say, because of the actual events that took place. And writing the words, it brought my emotions totally into it, and it made me bring those memories alive again. And it's something that I had never wanted to do. I never wanted to relive those memories because they were so painful. And even thinking about it now, it's very difficult knowing that I got past that. And I'm really happy to know that through the difficulties of writing the book, whether it were the quiet moments or whether it were those screaming moments, you know what? I had the strength to just pick up those pieces and continue writing. And I remember setting the book down for weeks without putting a word into it because I didn't know how to restart or how to leave those emotions on the table next to me so now I could continue the words. And I got past it, and hence the book was finished.
Bobby, thank you very much for that, man. And listen, you brought up something that I think is remarkable, something that I think is very poignant. And listen, man, we understand, and I've had plenty of guests on the network that have written books that were very close, very personal to them. And it's something that I've always, whenever I'm having those discussions, I'm always left in admiration with them because people, listen, we understand that sometimes, man, it's hard for us to look in the mirror at ourselves when we're in the privacy of our own home and out of the public eye. And even in those moments, in those deeply personal and quiet moments, it's hard enough to recognize certain aspects of ourselves, of our lives, of our experiences, things that we would rather just sweep under the rug and not acknowledge. That requires bravery. It requires so much strength. And that's going to lead into my next question. Because I want to ask, during this writing process, Bobby, how did you grapple with the balancing act of choosing which moments to incorporate into the book and share and which moments to leave on the drawing room floor?
That's a very good question because there were times, that because I know my personal life story was going to be out there, a lot of people are not comfortable with having that out there. Today, in today's society, with the internet and with everything else, social media, everything else, it's so easy that people formulate the wrong idea about a person based on a non-fact, something that's fiction, and they get the wrong idea of someone. But my whole purpose, I could not care less about myself. I just wanted the story to get out there. I wanted people to know the story. I could not care about the reflection that it had on me personally. I just wanted the story out there. It was so important to me to get the story out there, to let people know the reality of what this book is based on. I could not care of the depiction of what people had of me. I just needed the story out there. I just wanted more and more people to understand the importance, or how important it was to me for the story to get out there, for the reality of an event that took place that's true, that some things people don't believe in, but it's an actuality, it's a reality. So I could not care less what people think of me during the process. I just wanted the story out there. And if I could get that story out there and people understand the importance of that story, well, I don't care what they think of me, honestly.
Final question here for you, Bobby. After your readers survive this book, and I use that term specifically, surviving this book, because that is exactly what it's going to. Once they embark upon that journey with you and they get to its completion, they are indeed, in fact, going to be surviving this story. Well, what's one thing that you hope stays with your readers long after they finish reading it?
Family is the most important thing in life, okay? There's not much words to it. It's a very simple thing, but family is the most important thing there is in life, and don't ever give up on family, because family are the ones that could make you, they could break you, but they're the first ones that comes running when there's a tragedy, or when there's anything that happens to any individual. Your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers. I would say family, man. I want people to understand that there's nothing as powerful as the bond of a family.
I love that. Bobby, I love that, man. And listen, people, he mentioned the fact that it's something very simple, and it is actually simple on the surface, but something that is massively profound. Listen, when we're talking about our support systems, and whether that support system for you happens to be friends, actual family members, significant others, those individuals that you can rely upon, you can share the workload with, that village is massively important for our entire lives, regardless of what it is that we're going through. So, Bobby, that is something that is powerful, man, and something that I know my listening audience can get behind as well. And people, this is why, man, you got to pick up your copies, all right? This book is going to help so much. It's going to help open your eyes to a lot. When you pick up your copies, man, you're sitting down. Just remember, get ready to embark upon a roller coaster. And not only a roller coaster in terms of the journey that you're going to embark upon, but a roller coaster of emotions. Man, have that tissue box next to you. You just might be shedding a tear, and it's beautiful in its expression. So remember, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's a lot of other places. Also, remember to check out his personal website, weepingwalls.com. It's been there on the screen this entire time. There's no excuse for it. You know where to go. Head on over there, pick up your copies today. Bobby, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. I really do mean that. Such an honor. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you, Benji Cool, for having me.